Once you stop making these mistakes selling over the phone, you'll stop getting rejected. People will stop hanging up on you. And the best part, you'll start converting your calls into leads and you'll start generating appointments on almost every single prospecting call. If we haven't met yet, my name is Brandon Mulrenin and I'm committed to helping you become a great salesperson without being salesy. So if this video provides you any value, I would ask you with much love, much respect to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you never miss anything. Mistake number one, starting off the call with your full name and company name. As soon as you start doing that, imagine yourself, as soon as you get a phone call and the call starts with, "Hi, this is Brandon Mulrenin and I'm calling with ABC Company. Sales call, click, you're done." You don't need to do that. All you simply need to do is start using your first name only and what you do. As an example, if you're a real estate agent, you're gonna call and say, "This is Brandon, I'm a local realtor." It's very simple. Mistake number two, starting your call off by saying, "How are you today?" It's probably one of the worst mistakes you can make selling over the phone. Think about this. Every time you get into or you walk into a department store and that salesperson at the front desk says, "Hey, how are you today? Can I help you find anything?" What do you say every single time? Oh yeah, that's right. You say, "No, I'm good. I'm just looking." And 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes later, you're at the checkout buying something. Well, how could those two things be true? I thought you were just looking. That wasn't the case. What happened was that was your reflex response to, "How are you doing today? How can I help you today?" That's your natural defense mechanism to get away from salespeople. Think about when people call you and they say, "Hey, this is Brandon Mulrenin. I'm calling with ABC Company. How are you doing today?" You automatically start to say, "Oh boy, here we go. It's a sales call," if you don't just hang up on the person like many people do. Number three, not matching the prospect's tonality and pace of speech. And so what ends up happening is when you're on a sales call and the prospect talks very fast, they're very direct, and if you, on the other hand, aren't very direct and you're beating around the bush and you're not shooting them straight, the prospect's gonna get super frustrated. On the other hand, if a prospect is super soft-spoken, they're very slow, if you speak with too much enthusiasm and you're talking too fast, you're gonna turn the prospect off. Think about this as an example. Think about when you get a sales call and the person's so enthusiastic and you're just like, "Oh my gosh, this person's so fake." What they're looking for is authenticity. And it's not that the prospect is actually looking for it, but people like people who are like them. So when you're on a sales call, you need to listen more than you talk, and you're listening for the rate of speech. You're listening to the tonality, and most important, you're listening for what personality style they are. Are they a driver? Are they an analytical? Are they an expressive? Or are they an amiable? And you need to adjust the way that you're communicating based on that personality style. Number four, not setting the agenda at the beginning of the call. Do you get to the end of your sales calls or the end of your prospecting call and people and prospects telling you, "Well, I'll think about it and I'll get back to you"? That's because you don't set the agenda at the beginning of the call. And here's an example. At the beginning of a sales call, what I want you to do, what I'm suggesting or recommending that you do, is every time you jump on a sales call, set an expectation with the prospect. So the prospect can do two things. Number one, it can lower their anxieties because they know what to expect. And then number two, it sets you up to succeed on the sales call. Setting the agenda might sound something like this. "Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, what I'd like to do on this call today is kind of understand exactly what you're looking to accomplish. And if it sounds like I can help, I'll walk you through what I do and how my program works. And if it sounds like we're a good fit, we can have a simple conversation whether or not it makes sense to work together." Fair enough? And that's a simple way to set the agenda and to lower the anxiety of the prospect. Number 5, telling versus asking questions. This is a massive one. Most untrained or most amateur salespeople, they want to get right into selling mode. They want to start telling the prospect about all the features and all the benefits and all the reasons why the prospect should do business with them. This is a huge sales killer, massive mistake when selling over the phone. What you want to do is make your sales conversation question-based. Your job is simply to find out what the prospect is struggling with. Where's the pain? Where are the challenges? Only when those things have been identified can you make recommendations. Because if you start telling, what we always tell our students is, telling is not selling. The second you start selling, the second you start trying to tell a prospect, the phone call is over. You need to start asking open-ended, Socratic-style implication questions to get the prospect to identify through a path of self-discovery what their big challenges are, what their big pain points are. And at that point, have they done what we call self-admission? They're essentially walking us through exactly what their biggest struggles are so that we can position our product and our service as a potential solution. Number 6, trying to close the prospect versus having the prospect close themselves. So up until this point, we've all been trained by the famous sales gurus that we should close, overcome objections, apply high pressure tactics and strategies to get the business. Well, if you've been trying that, you know those tactics and strategies no longer work when selling over the phone. So what we recommend at Reverse Selling is a strategy that we position the conversation in a way where the prospect closes or the prospect sells themselves. How do we do that? Simply by asking them open-ended, Socratic-style questions that lead the prospect to make the decision that doing business with you is a great idea. Let me give you an example. So if you're on a sales call, instead of trying to close and pressure the prospect into buying, you might simply ask the prospect, Mr. Prospect, why is right now the best time to make a change? Or here's another one, Mr. Prospect, why not stay with your current provider? Or Mr. Prospect, what's going to happen when you make a change? Isn't your current provider, your current agent, your current service agent, aren't they going to have an issue with this? And how are you going to handle this? These are all great questions to pose to the prospect so the prospect can do the selling. You need to stay out of it. All you need to do to become a great salesperson when selling over the phone is asking these types of questions to get the prospect to convince themselves and you that doing business with you is a good idea. So next, what I want you to do is watch this video right here. These are my 7 best tactics, best strategies for you selling over the phone. These are the tactics that are going to help you close so much business, set so many appointments when selling over the phone. Click this and I'll see you in the next video right now.